Good morning. Welcome to the Bond Sunday service. I'm Jesse Peterson. Thank you so much for being with me. You can chat on YouTube with us, so whatever questions or comments you have, be sure to chat on YouTube, all right? And I can respond today. Thank you for being with me. And good morning to everybody here. Thank you all for showing up. I think life is amazing. Isn't life amazing? Do you think life is amazing? What's amazing about it to you? How old are you?
25.
Oh, good.
Yes.
When I was 25, I bought my first home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did I tell you about that? When I was growing up, we were taught a couple of things. One is that at 18, you're out of here. While growing up, they said, once you turn 18, you gotta leave. You can't stay here. And I remember asking my grandma, where am I going at 18? She said, I don't know, and I don't care. And so I had that mentality. And so at 18, I left home. And I went to Indiana. But another thing that was taught to us is that at 25, you should get married. No, you should buy a home, because in those days, men bought the home and not the woman, and so that you could bring your woman into your home instead of you going into her home. So we were taught at 25 you should buy a house and get married. You know, if you're going to get married around 25, not before that, because you kind of build your career up and stuff like that. And so at 25, the morning of 25, I woke up and I said, oh, I'm going to go and buy me a house today. I really did, not even thinking about it. And honestly, I had no money. I had not saved up any money. I had a job, but I had no money. And so I went to a real estate office and I met this woman, a black woman, and I told her that, you know, I need to get a house. I'm 25 years old. I need to get a house, but I have no money. This is a true story. And my mentality was I was going to get the house. I didn't even think not getting the house. And so she said, oh, okay. She said, I'll see what kind of deal I can find for you. So she didn't say you need to have money. She said, okay, I'll find you a deal. And so she started calling me up, and we went around and looked at different houses. And then there was one house I walked into one day. It was right down the road from here. It was a beautiful home, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, big living room, dining room, kitchen, washer and dryer area, fireplace. And in the backyard, it had a 2-car garage with a little house in the back of the garage. I said, this is the house I want. This is it. After looking at all those other houses, this is it. And never once thinking that I wasn't going to get the house. It's so weird. That's because I've been brainwashed growing up. And I said, okay, this is what I want. She said, all right, let me check with the owner. We'll get back to you. So she called me back and said, you know, a day or so, I guess. She said, okay, here's the deal. The owner want to get rid of this house, and the only thing he wants is for you to take over the payment, because he's losing the house, and he just wants somebody to take over the payments. And the payments were $300 a month. In a nice neighborhood, a Jewish community right down the road. And I said, okay. And she asked me, well, can you give him like a couple of thousand or something just to say thanks? I said, yeah, I can do that. And so I went and got $2,000, gave it to him and said thanks. And I ended up with my first house. The house itself cost like $25,000 at that time. In 1 year, it went up to $100,000. Wow. Just like that, it went up. Isn't that amazing? That's an amazing story, huh? So at 25, you need to get a house.
I don't think it's happening.
Speaking to the mic. So what?
I don't think it's happening at 25.
Why not?
I'm not there yet.
Not where?
We're financially ready to
I
buy
didn't
a
have
house.
it either.
I don't think it's the same.
I'm sorry?
I don't think it's the same.
You don't think it's the same as what?
Situation.
Why is that?
I don't have a couple thousand to put up and say thank
But
you.
I didn't have it either.
But you said you had 2,000. You found 2,000 to give him.
Yeah, I
and say
went and
thank
got
you.
it and gave it to him.
I got nowhere to get it.
But you might find a better deal than what I got if your mind is right about it. The fact you said, this is not the time, I don't have the money, you're killing your opportunity. rather than just going for it without the mind thought about it.
That could be true.
That is true. I just gave you an excellent story. And at the time, I was smoking pot. And I was smoking pot, and I would, what I would do, I knew that I started having these parties, and so I knew that my friends were coming over, so I would make sure I had groceries in the refrigerator, and I paid the house note, and then I just bought the pot, and so that when I woke up Monday morning, I knew I still had a house and food. So does it help maybe change your mind about that?
I think I'm just in a different place as far as where that's an actual possibility right now.
What does that mean?
Like I'm still figuring out how I'm still trying to get it together before.
But I didn't have it together. I was out here on my own. I did not have it together, believe me. I just had a different mindset.
Well, why is 25 like the age to do it, or why do you feel 25 is the age to do it?
Well, at that time, 25 was like a mature age, you know, because you're 18, you're out of school, you get a job, you save up a little money, and then by 25, you were considered to be old enough to buy a house, get married, start your family.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's older now. It's like 90, because most guys still live with the mothers. But it's the mindset. Yeah. If you had no doubt, everything you want will happen.
So you can just say, you're saying just say what you want it to be, and then it can just be.
If you didn't doubt it.
What if it's different in like his will? What if he wants something different?
Well, he'll still give it to you, just later find out that's not what you want. But without doubt, with faith, with no doubt, there's nothing that you can't do or have. Isn't that amazing?
I believe that.
But see, you just talk yourself out of it, and that's doubt. I'm not in a place yet. It's not like I got to get it together. So you're speaking doubt. And so you're justified by your words, or you're condemned by them. And so right away, the deceiver comes to say, oh, that was then. This is now. You need to get your life together. This is not the right time. I don't have the money. But because I have been trained that way, no doubt got in the way.
So you kind of set the times where you wanted it to be.
Well, my grandparents did that. They set the time, and I believed in the time. Like at 18, I graduated from high school in May of '68, and in July of that same year, I went up to Indiana, and I got me a job, and I hated Indiana, so I said, well, I'm just going to stay here, and I'm going to get me a job, and I'm going to work 2 weeks just for a paycheck, because I hated Indiana, and I'm going to California. And so I got a job, and I made a check, and I quit the same day I made the check. I just told them I'm not coming back. And I bought me a ticket. It cost $50 on Southwest Airlines to come to California, so I came out here. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. What do you think about that?
That makes sense now that you say that there's a time that was set, so you're like, okay, this is the time that I feel like I need to do it. So I'm 25, let me just go see how it.
Yeah, I think you might be holding the mic wrong. Yeah, you covered up, yeah.
To see how it happened, that makes sense.
Yeah, but the problem is I never had doubt, because it was it was like set in my mind growing up. Yeah. So I never doubted any of those things would happen. It's like I knew I would just do them. Yeah. Because that's all I knew.
Yeah. I think it wasn't set. It wasn't set that way.
I know, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I know this guy that's still living with his mother, and I thought he was 54, and he's still living with his mother, and she's taking his life away from him. I found out the other day that he's 59. He's 59 years old, and he's hanging on to life. He's like, Jesse, I just want you to know, I'm still trying. You have any jobs? I'm like, did you go looking for a job? No. I had to take my mama to the doctor. And so I asked, how old are you? Because I'm thinking like 53, 54. And he said, I'm 59. I'm going to be 60 this year.
Wow.
Isn't that like amazing?
So you encourage people to leave.
At 18. Anybody that stays home after 18 is well, I don't think you can use that word anymore. A girly man.
Why so? Why so?
Why
that?
so?
Or what's the
What does that mean? Why
No, I mean,
so?
I mean, what's the
What
standard?
kind of man gonna say why so? Why so should I be at home with my mama after 18?
Well, why? Who made the idea for why is 18 the age to get out?
God did it. You grown at 18. And you said, grown man, leave your mama.
I hear you.
I had this friend who told me that, oh no, I won't bring that up. But, so you can't imagine leaving your mama at 18?
I was just wondering why. I thought it was just a worldly standard that people set to be like, you got to be out by 18 because you got to go to school, da 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 da. I didn't know it was
they didn't.
realistic.
Back in those days, they didn't say you had to go to school. They said you had to leave.
Oh.
They weren't even pushing you to go to college.
Oh, okay.
Thank God. They were pushing you to be grown. Go and be a man. Become a man.
Yeah.
Are you still living with your mother?
Yes.
And you're 25 years old?
Yes. My situation is.
Nuh-uh.
I'm not making excuses for it, but for a long time I've felt like this is where I needed to be for a little while.
With your mama?
To affect. I mean, I have 5 other people that's living in the house, and I feel like.
How old is the youngest one?
My little brother, he's 16.
And he's going to be there till he's 25 and 30.
Yeah. I just feel like I mean, I could be wrong, and I feel like God planted me there to be there for a while.
Poor God. All the weaknesses is blame on God.
No.
Why would God want you to stay there?
That's what I felt for a while. I don't know if
But that's the way a woman thinks. So when you're
right.
dating, do you tell your girlfriend, I'm at my mama's house?
Yeah.
Oh
Honest.
my God.
I got to be honest with the situation.
And do you feel ashamed to tell your girlfriend I'm at my mama's house?
No, because like I said, I felt like it was the right thing.
He said no.
For the time.
Do you take them to mama's house?
No. I haven't had a girlfriend in a long time though. So.
But the last time you had one, did you take her to mama's house?
She met my mom.
But did you take her over there and say, hey, this is where I live?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Jesus. And you had no shame?
No. It didn't seem wrong. It doesn't seem wrong, or it's never seemed wrong for me to not. I mean, I understand the whole thing. You're supposed to go be here doing this and doing this, but I've been trying to do that, and that's just where it's been led me to go.
You're never going to grow up living with mama. I'm going to be talking to you. You're going to be 59 years old.
I hope not.
You're never going to grow up living with mama. You're not going to grow up. She's not going to let you grow up.
So,
even if she wanted you to grow up,
yeah.
The fact you're under her, she's not going to let you. And she might not want to hold you back like that.
I understand
but that nature in her is going to stop your growth. And then since you're still a baby unto her, you're not going to grow.
I see where you're coming from.
So you need to move this week.
That's the part I'm trying to figure out. How.
I told this guy, because I've known him for a long time, I knew him when he was in his 20s. And I first met him, I asked him, are you still living with your mother? And I didn't have a lot of sense then, but I knew men should not be living with their mothers or their parents after 18, right? So I asked him, are you still living with your mother? He said, yes. I said, you should get out now. This was before bond and all that stuff. I said, you should get out of your mother's house right now or you're going to regret it. And he even reminds me all the time, I should have taken your advice a long time ago. And I'm sorry I didn't take your advice on that. But I wanted him to get out. And when I met him, I was going to another church, and I was like a greeter, but they didn't call it greeter, but they called it, I was on this men publicity committee. And so when the guys come to the church, I would stand at the door, me and other guys, we would welcome the guys and then tell them about the committee. And that's how I met this particular guy. And he and I became friends because he joined the committee. And that's when I asked, are you still living with your mother? He said, yes. And I said, you should get out. And this guy, like a tall, handsome guy at the time, right? And had a lot of girlfriends and a lot of kind of stuff. Now he's old and fat and sloppy because mama took his life away from him.
Yeah.
So you better get out while you're still thin and look good.
I mean, that's a lot to figure out.
That ain't nothing to figure out. You have a job, right?
Not making that much money to get a house now.
Do you have a job?
Yeah.
Are you making money?
Yeah.
You could buy a hut. You could rent a hut, a one room. I used to live in a roach infested apartment for a while at a hotel, and roaches were everywhere. I probably ate some. But I was on my own, doing my own thing, my own suffering, my own mistakes, my own growing up. You're not going to grow up under mama.
Yeah.
You don't have any fear about anything because she's providing the roof, she's providing the food, she had cleaning your clothes. Why would you grow up under that? Answer me. He's shaking his head like, yeah, you're right.
I hear what you're saying.
There's nothing to make you grow up. No pain, no gain.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Do you have a job? Be honest.
Uh-huh.
You got a job. You make a paycheck.
Yeah, but not like that.
Like what?
Not like where I can move out yet.
You
That's
could rent a room from somebody. You have a whole excuse, a bunch of excuses.
That's true. I hear what you're saying.
But you're not going to do anything about it, right?
I just have to figure it out.
Okay, I got a whole bunch of witnesses. I'm telling you to move now.
I definitely don't want to be 59 and still having this conversation. So.
But you will. Just think about it. Right now, there's nothing to prevent this conversation from happening when you're 59. You have no pressures. You have to pay no rent. You have to buy no food. Yeah. You're living like a baby under your mama.
Yeah.
And she's a woman taking care of a grown man. Mm-hmm. So you're the girl and she's the man. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
I hear what you're saying.
But you're not going to change it.
I'm not saying I'm not going to change it.
Next week.
That's fast.
Right. This is an emergency.
I hear you.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Yes, yeah. Hold on for the mic, I'm sorry.
The part that...
I wouldn't even want a girl to know I live with my mama.
Part of your story.
If I was dating and live with my mama, I'd lie and say I live somewhere else. I live down the road. I have a roommate. We can't go there tonight. Anyway.
The part of your story that struck me was that you just don't know the good things that could happen. You bought the house for 20 and suddenly it was worth 100.
Yes.
And that's the part of it that you can't figure out. And that's the part that doubt blocks you from seeing.
Right.
Because good things could happen. It isn't all bad stuff that happens.
Good things will happen.
Because you're on your own and you're doing it yourself.
When you're out there living your life, going through the tough times, those are good things that's happening. The tough times is what causes the other things to come about. You need the tough times. But as long as you sit under mama, you're not going to feel tough times.
And you're less aware.
And you're less aware. That's right, because you don't need to be aware of anything.
Yeah, just to go off that. That makes sense with the whole doubt thing. It just wasn't financially the case. And it's not like I'm like, oh, I want to stay. Well, I don't know. Well, that could be
get
very
another
true.
job. I'd rather get another job, and rather than have an excuse to be 25 years old and living with mama. You should have like manly pride.
I hear what you're saying.
So that's just another excuse. What are you thinking?
It's different for my situation. Not saying that I'm not trying to make it, but
You said the Lord told you to stay at home with Mama. You done lied on the Lord.
I'm in the
God even sent Jesus down here on his own, and he went through all kind of hell.
No, that makes perfect sense. I'm in the entertainment industry, so a lot of my time is focused on building and getting ready to make my money from that. Opposed to if I get another
excuses.
job, but if I get another job, it's taking my time away from.
You will become better in the entertainment world by being out there going through the tough times on your own than you would with your mother.
Well, yeah, like mentally but
physically and everything, because you would be on your own and you would have to be creative. You would have to get out there and make it happen. You would be able to accept or reject or no, because you're on your own and you would have to make it happen. But with Mama, you can take it or leave it. It doesn't have to happen today.
Yeah.
You can sleep in. Mama got the rent. You can sleep in. Mama got the food for you.
I hear you.
So it's different. I'm telling you, it's best to be on your own.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So next week.
Okay, Jesse.
Next week?
I'll put the word out. I'm looking for a room.
Yeah. That's the beginning of it. And if your job is, believe me, once you get out there, things are going to start, like what Ed was saying, things will start to open up that you can't foresee. And God is waiting on you to get out there and do your thing so he can give you your opportunities, so he can take care of you. He's not going to help you while you're sitting on a mama. He's not going to help you.
But I mean, I've always been answering that question of why I'm still here. Why is this situation gone where it's gone? But I've never gotten
Who you been asking
answer.
that to?
I've been praying about it. I mean, like, why haven't you led me to be anywhere else? Why am I still here? And I haven't got that answer.
Oh, well, maybe that's why I'm having this conversation now. He told me to tell you, ain't nothing going to happen as long as you're sitting on a mama. There's no reason for me to lead you to anything.
Well, how come it took from 18 to 25 to hear it? That's what
because he thought maybe you'll wake up after a while.
Okay.
And so he wants you to know he can't help you because all your needs are already met by Mama.
Okay.
So say what, God? He said move out next week.
Okay.
Are you going to do it?
I'm gonna pray about it.
Pray about it. You got all the answers and you still got to pray because the answers are not what you want to hear.
No, I'm open to him, though. I am open to him.
But you're not willing to do it.
Can you tell him to tell me too, though?
He just told you.
Okay.
All right. Yes, sir.
I have a friend who I had a conversation with this week, and he makes money illegally, and I'm telling him not to. I told him to go get a job.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, man, this and that. And then he'll bring up a good thing of what, like he makes a lot of money or something. And then I'll bring up a bad thing, but, this happened. So it kind of evens out, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it the same? Aren't you in the same place, whether you're making money legally or illegally? He's like, yeah, I am. And I said, so you're going to stop, right? He's like, no, I gotta make some money. I'm going to save up. I'm going to buy a restaurant. I'm going to do all the. No, you're not. Believe me, you're not. There will never be a perfect time. And
the time is
our
now.
battle is not a physical
Do it
battle.
now. Don't wait because your father, the devil, will make you wait. Keep on doing this thing or that thing. Eventually, get better, and it won't.
The best thing
Life
that could
gets
happen
better.
is that you rip off the Band-Aid and you do fall.
Yeah,
The best thing that could happen is that you were homeless for a couple days.
that's right.
That's the best thing that could happen to you.
That's right. And the problem too, parents today are not preparing their children for once you turn 18, you get out there and live your life. They'll make you think you got to go to college, prepare for college, prepare to stay with me the rest of your life, and all that kind of stuff. They're not teaching you from a child up to grow up and become independent. And you expect the woman to stay home until her husband come get her. But you're the husband that's supposed to be out there building a life so you can go get your wife. But you're waiting at home like you're waiting for your husband to come get you. You see the difference? I can't hear you.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah, you're sitting at home like a woman. Why don't you be a man and stop being a girl?
I mean, if I knew that was
I'm
the
at
case.
home praying. What you praying for, a man? A man ain't got time to sit around and just be praying, waiting on the Lord.
I hear what you're saying.
But you're not going to do it. You know why you're not going to do it? Because your nature has not been built up with that kind of confidence. It doesn't have the courage to go out on your own. It has excuses, but it doesn't have courage. It's not strong. You don't have a strong nature because they didn't build it up while you were growing up.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And so that's why you're afraid to just go out there and just do it.
I just don't know how.
All right. I just told you how. I gave you the beginning of the steps. Go find a little room to live in. Get you another job. You could still do your little Hollywood thing, but get you another job and do that, and then stay with the Father. He'll make your Hollywood thing work out even easier for you. Miracles will happen because your Father will take care of you.
Okay.
But as long as you're praying and trying to figure it out, you're just getting old.
I'm gonna work on it.
This week. So do you know what to do right now?
Yeah.
What?
Work on trying to get out.
Yeah, find a place and find out how much the rent is. Get a room. Go rent a room with a stranger, but not one that would kill you or something. But go rent a room in somebody's house. Rooms are cheap, and then right now pay what you can pay, but find another job so you can get out of there. In the meantime, work on your Hollywood stuff. And it's going to blow your mind because opportunities are going to open up that you can't see right now and you will never see as long as you're living with your mother. You're not going to see it. Mama's in the way. She's God over God. She's standing between you and God. Even if she didn't want to, it is that way. Otherwise, she would have put you out. A mother that let her son stay home until he's 25 don't love him.
I hear what you're saying.
If she loved you, she would throw you out. I put my son out when he was 18. He came out here, all mad and stuff. I tried to show him the right way. He wouldn't do it. I'm like, you got to go. He's like, where am I going? I don't know. And he didn't live in California. He was familiar with New York, not California, right? I said, but you got to go. I tried to show him the right way. I got him jobs. He got some good paying jobs, but just trifling. And so I just finally said, you can't stay here, buddy. You got to go. And he left, and it was better for him that I put him out. He started to grow up once I threw him out. And he was like 18 or 19 at the time. And he thanked me for that now.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that something? And I don't give them money. Because money ain't love. Money corrupts you. It makes you lazy. When someone is giving it to you.
I agree.
Yes, Jeremiah.
What if you want to go to college and maybe are busy and you have a job, but you don't want to move all your stuff into a new apartment? Can you pay rent at your house?
No.
Pay your parents' rent?
Get out of your house.
No? Right.
Go pay that rent somewhere else. You need to be on your own so you can feel the pain of being on your own. If you're paying rent to mama or daddy, it's a comfort zone. Because if you don't pay that rent, you're not going to get put out. If you don't buy the food, you're not going to starve. But on your own, if you don't pay the rent, they're going to put you out. If you don't buy your own food, you're going to starve. But home is a safety zone.
Okay.
So no, Jeremiah, you got to leave.
Oh, no. I want to leave. I was just wondering.
Yeah, don't wonder about that. I want you to develop the mindset, because if you go off to college, that's good. Live in the dorm, Find out how to, get a little job. Do your thing. You'll become better at football, at education, whatever you're doing, because the pressure of having to become that way is there for you. And the pressure is good. It will make you into a man. But being at home, there's no real pressure. Because you don't have to do certain things because dad and mama got your back. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So you're going to leave at 18?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, Raymond. And then here.
I'll make this as quick as possible. You came, I believe that you came up at a time when people, when life was so hard that that your parents had realized that you had to grow up quick or
No,
don't.
life was not hard. Life was beautiful.
Well,
That's another excuse.
still struggle.
I never struggled.
Well, they did know one thing: you either have to grow up quick or don't bother growing up at all.
I didn't have to grow up quick. I grew up like everybody else, 1 year at a time.
Yes,
All right,
but they
so-
did want you out. But they did want you out of the house on 18.
Because I'm a man, I need to be out.
Yes, but at this time, we raised a society where that's considered hard. That life you grew up in is considered too harsh for anybody to deal with. But maybe just what the doctor ordered.
That's right. Thank you. But everything else you're wrong about. Yes. I was talking to a young man today, just this morning, and I said, why don't you buy a house for yourself? I don't have the money. I said, but you do have the money. And I asked, so are you thinking like you have to pay the house off or something? You have to like buy the house? And I'm like, you don't have to buy the house. You have a down payment, a loan company or a bank will finance the rest, and you can. So, and I happen to know that this person has a lot of money, and they can buy a house. But they thought you had to buy the whole house, like pay it off or something. I'm like, no. I said, better than that, you could buy an apartment building and rent it out. I would have to get a manager to manage the apartment building. I'm like, you can do that. I'll show you a manager that can manage the apartment building. And now they're excited about it. They didn't know it was just that simple to get a house. Isn't that amazing? And so that just opened up another whole world to him. These are things that our parents are supposed to be teaching us while growing up. But parents are not teaching that. They're spoiling their kids. You got to go to college. Make sure I'm saving money for you and all that. That's not love. Parents don't love their kids today. Your mother should have never allow you to grow up and be this weak. At 25, you should have been gone a long time ago. And you thinking that the Lord wants you there because there's something there for you. And I'm just praying about it. You're going to be praying till the cows come home. Let me take him and then I'll come back. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that there's an order to things, and what's happened. It's man, woman, and child, and you're not a child anymore, and so you have your mom still over you, and everybody's kind of trying to we're laughing about it, but actually what everybody's getting over is their mothers in life, and when you get out of the house, a whole new spiritual order could be available to you, and all the doubt that you have right now, that's all because you're subject to that spirit. So everything you're going through is spiritual right now. It has nothing to do with like, how do I do this? But if you take that first step, what could happen is you actually come to a whole new order of things.
Plus, I would be embarrassed. How do you walk around with your head up, boy? And then you're out there trying to date somebody's daughter.
Why are you doing me like that on YouTube right now?
Because you're such a nice guy. I see you have great potential.
I just never knew that it was wrong the direction I was going. Like maybe it was the excuses that were being made, but I've always been open to like, okay, tell me if I'm supposed to move out. Why haven't I gotten the message or the word besides today that I'm supposed to leave, or I would have been left? That's not the thing.
This is so amazing. He never knew that he was wrong for staying at home with his mother. And wait, not so fast. He never knew it. Just imagine he's 25 years old and he never knew he should leave home at that age. He's waiting on a message. Why haven't somebody told me? when you're growing up as a boy into manhood, that's something you should naturally know, and especially if you have a father there to guide you too. In the good old days when boys were boys, men and women somewhat thought alike. You know, they knew as a man that you need to be out on your own. It was not. I guess the mothers lost that now because you grew up without your father, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the mothers have lost this thing. They want to hold on to their sons as though they are daughters and not teach them anything.
Yeah.
And that's sad that you never knew that you're supposed to move out at 18. You're waiting on something else.
I always thought it was an unrealistic. I thought it was just what the world put on 18 and 30 for whatever, just
No, the
certain
Lord did
ages.
that.
'Cause that makes sense.
Yeah, and natural manhood does that. And I understand, though, you didn't have a father, and your mother didn't teach you that way growing up. So it's amazing you're a human being and you just didn't know that. That's mind-blowing, huh? Boy, get out of your mama's house and go out there and live your life.
I hear you.
Yeah. All right. Yes. I didn't
think
know this was going to take up half of the meeting. That's mind-blowing. That's good, though. This is so important.
I think it's important to note also that I think what he just said, the opposite is true. I think that in the world now, people are supposed to be an adolescent until 30, and that's normal, right? And
There's no wonder men and women are depressed and on pills.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't.
Living that mama,
But
with mama that long
I
makes
think
you
the
depressed.
opposite is true. I think what he needs to do is to only listen to God and not the world, and not be comfortable. You
He
cannot
been
be
praying,
comfortable.
But the Lord won't answer him until today.
Right, but if you're praying and you're comfortable, you know what I mean? That's one thing. I don't think it's good for men to be too comfortable. You know,
That's right.
If you don't have somewhere to be, if you're not somewhat like about to go do something, and you're just like, man, when is this movie career gonna fall in my lap? You know, it's like it doesn't give you that motivation to get out and do. And my whole point is, I think the world is teaching you that. Because it taught me that, it taught everybody that. Just
But if
be a
his
Bernie
parents
Sanders
had-
victim and
if his
just kick
parents
it. You
had
know,
taught
just
him, if his parents had taught him that, the world couldn't tell him that. That's why parents are supposed to guide you the right way. So when you go out into the world, you can't be deceived by the world. And so the world is doing what it's supposed to do because it is of the devil. Satan owns this world, right? So he's doing his job, but it's your parents' job and our parents' job to teach us when we were kids so that when we grow up and go out into the world, we won't be deceived by the world. You're absolutely right. That is what they're teaching. And especially with men, since men represent Christ, they want you to stay girl. They want you to be a woman because you're going to be weak all your life. So they are really pushing men to be emotional. Any man that move into a woman's house or apartment is a girl. This woman is moving in with another woman, and she thinks she's moving in with a husband or a boyfriend. Men don't move into women places unless they're a girly man. Anyway, you're not living at home with your mother, right? Oh, whew. And you didn't move into your wife's place, right?
Excuse me?
Did you move into your wife's place or did she move into yours?
No, my wife and I, we moved in together at the same time.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Did that help a little bit? Frankie, you had your hand? Yes.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same situation. I had to force myself out.
From your
but-
mama's house?
My daddy's house, my mama's house. Yeah.
I didn't have to force myself out. I just left. I didn't know not to leave.
And so what I realized about it is that I can pretty much estimate, just knowing you, that good chance you won't be successful. I'm not wishing it on you, but it's a chance you won't be successful in Hollywood because you don't take chances.
Yeah.
And the more
That's right.
the more comfort you are, it guarantees you will not be successful in anything. But the more you get out there and starve to death and you'll make you more hungry, make you more ambitious and more desirous, and
Yeah.
you'll make it. But the other way, you're gonna lose.
What do you think about all this, Hermes?
I think it's interesting. I think one of the things for me that pushed me out, I can't really say that I had a dad that taught me to move out, but I just knew I wanted my
How old
own.
were you?
Huh?
How old were you when you left home?
19.
Oh, okay.
And I just remember packing up my car and driving. It was just like the best feeling because I knew I was going to have my own space.
Yeah.
I had my own, you know what I mean? So that was a motivating factor, just to have my own place, to be able to do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And
That's
so-
right. Marilyn, what do you think about this? Let's get a woman's perspective about men who stay home after 18.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't agree on it, but
You don't agree on what?
no, I don't agree with it.
With them staying home?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Like
why
my
not?
brother, I have a brother who's 27 and he's still living with my mom. And my mom put me out when I was 17. So I'm like, how is that possible?
That's right.
You know, as soon as
That's
I
right.
graduated from high school, she was like, okay, you got to go. So, you know,
This
it's like,
this particular guy that's 60 years old, 59, is still living with her mother. She put the daughters out when they were early. They went to college. They got married. They have a real life, but she kept him home as though he's the daughter.
Yeah.
She made sure the girls had a life. They left. Isn't that amazing?
yeah.
And now she's dying, and he feels even more guilty. He can't move out because he got to take care of her. I just let her die up in there. I'll be gone. I would see that as my time to exit. I would be gone. I got to get to something first real fast, all right? Because of time. This time it's almost up right, and then I'll come to you. Kid. I got this question from someone who watches us on the church service. And he said, sin after salvation. In a lot of Jesse's talk, he explained that you can't sin after you are saved. Does this mean you're not a sinner? Or, no, does this mean you're not a sinner? Or you actually don't do anything contradictory to God's word? You understand it? So, you don't understand it? He said that I say a lot, you can't sin after you're saved. That's the first point. Does this mean you're not a sinner once you're saved? That's the second point. And the third point, he's asking, or am I saying you can't do anything that goes against God's word? He doesn't understand the thing about you can't sin. And so I thought I'd get one of you Christians to answer that for him, right here in the nice shirt. So, after you are saved, born again, do you still sin?
No.
Can you sin?
I don't believe you can,
Why not?
because you're a child of God. So if
Yeah.
you're connected to God like that, then you're connected to the truth.
That's
and if you
right.
sin, then you're going to live in a lie.
You cannot sin once you are born of God, because in his nature, and God become your father. He become your father, right? And in your father's nature, there is no sin. And so if you have your father, like right now, prior to returning to the Father, you have your father, the devil's nature. And his nature is sin. So you can't help but sin, because you're your father's son or daughter, so you can't help but sin. And so in your sin, you're unhappy, you have conflict, you're lost, you know, life is messed up. And so you're thinking, wow, I don't like this, this is not good. And then someone comes along and they say, well, you know, there's another guy that if you become his son or daughter, then you won't have to have all this conflict. You don't have to sin. And you're like, well, who is that? And he's like, God. If you come to Jesus, you will not sin. You're like, okay, that sounds good to me. So I'm going to go to Jesus. And then you go to Jesus and you're still sinning. And then you're making up all these excuses. Well, I'm not human. I mean, I'm a human and I can't help it. What it's saying is you have not returned to the Father. And a lot of people don't know that. What is the purpose of returning to a God that's going to treat you the same way that the God you're trying to get rid of is treating you? It's like going from your real father to a stepfather, because they're both going to treat you the same. And so Christians who have been told that you could sin, you've been lied to. You've absolutely been lied to. If you're still sinning, you're a slave to sin, and you're unhappy. So the next question would be, and he didn't ask this, what is sin? Because a lot of people don't know what it is, and that's what the problem is. They do not know what sin is. Tell them what sin is.
Is that self-judgment?
Huh?
Judging yourself?
Judgment, period. Because judgment is pride. When you judge, when you make decisions, when you're judging right from wrong, when you're judging others, you're playing God, and that's the sin. Because a lot of people think that the sin is drinking and smoking and having sex and lying and stealing and killing. Those are the commandments, things that we should not do. But when you're of sin, you can't help but do those things. And the reason God said don't do those things, because he knows that if you do those things, you're not going to have a good life. You just bring your damnation upon yourself. So he said don't do it. But as long as you have a sinful nature, you can't help but do those things. So the best way to keep the commandments is you got to drop your pride. You must be born again. You must stop playing God. And I'm sorry? Oh, right here. You have on black gloves, so I didn't see your hands up. She had her hands up, and I couldn't see them.
Oh, stop it. So then you're saying when you do something wrong and you don't judge it, then you're not sinning.
100%.
Oh, that's cool. So you just see you did something wrong, and it's like, oh.
Have no opinion about it at all. Now, don't be crazy and go out there and do wrong and say, oh, I'm just going to do wrong and not have an opinion. That's a fool's way.
Right.
That's right. Don't do it. You in your heart, you want to do the right thing, but don't judge it. Don't call it good or bad, right or wrong, because when you do, you're playing God, you're making a decision, and you're going to end up doing it again. And so the Father cannot take that away from you. That makes sense?
Yes.
And you have to watch it too, because whenever you do something wrong, whatever wrong may be, Satan starts telling you, oh my God, that's wrong. You just sinned. You're supposed to be a Christian. And so he get busy in your head so that he can make you make a decision about it. Because you know now not to make a decision about what you just did, right? But your father, the devil, knows that if you make a decision, he still has control over you. So he's going to talk to you about this situation. He's going to make you feel guilty so that you can have a decision about it. And he sends some extra demons, and they're like talking to you too. He tell Lucifer Jr., go talk to him. He think he's getting away with it. Talk to him. And if you listen to that, you'll fall to it. It best not. You know, God said, my children shall know me by my voice. Whatever he's telling you, whether it's right or wrong, good or evil, let it all pass, because he's pretending to be God. He's pretending to be you.
Watching your thoughts.
Yeah. So are you able not to do that? Not to make a decision?
Sometimes, yes.
And why not all the time?
Because the devil gets busy.
Yeah. And when he does, listen, that's a very good point. Sometimes he's able to resist the devil, and sometimes not. When you find out that you have listened to him, and you feel the pain and all that, go to that pain and relax. Don't make another decision. And don't run away from the pain. Go to the pain and relax in it. Be still and know God. He'll take care of it. That makes sense? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Ken.
Yeah, you made a powerful point earlier about if people had actually turned to their earthly and godly father, then the world would not get into them, and they wouldn't believe any of the things that the world's trying to promote. And again, Christianity, a lot of Christianity, you know, the alleged Christianity today promotes that you could be saved and you're going to still sin.
Right.
Which is a massive lie.
They
that
lying to you.
the devil has really promoted that lie.
Yes.
In a deep way, so people actually cannot be saved.
Yeah,
It's
he's
impo-
convinced them that he's convinced human beings that you can't be perfect, whereas God said you can be perfect. Be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Be holy as your Father is holy. So if your Father is holy, why can't you be holy? If your Father is perfect, well, why would God tell us to be that way if we can't be that way? But Satan has convinced human beings that you can't be that way, even Christians, and so they're promoting Satan's ideas and not God's way. I got another perfect example, but let me take, did you have Marilyn here first?
Is a thought a sin? Like when you think of something, is that a sin?
No, it's a decision about the thought that the sin. That's such a good question.
Well, I'm asking because, like, say
No,
you're...
the thought is not a sin.
Well, you said a sin is just judging yourself, right? So if you're like, just say you're driving down the street and you see a liquor store and you want to stop and your thought tell you, okay, go in that liquor store and get a drink. And you say, no, I'm not drinking, but because I don't like the way it makes me feel. So is that like...
You're talking to the devil. Don't say, no, I'm not drinking, because you're
But
lying.
is that a sin? That's why I'm asking you.
But the sin is that you communicated with the thought. You believed into it. You had as though it was your
But you
thought.
didn't act on the thought. Like you didn't go and do what...
Right, but you are acting because you're saying, no, I'm not going to do it. And you might pass up that liquor store, but before the sun is down, you walking back to the store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. You do know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
So like passing that liquor store, you're like, no, I'm not going in that one, right? But then because you said no, you made a decision. You, as though you're God. Whereas had that thought just come, had Satan suggested that to you, and you just let it go without any yes or no, you would not go back to the store later and get it. That makes sense?
Yeah. Makes
So the
sense.
thought is not the problem. Your communication with the thought is the problem.
Okay.
That's why he said, don't think of those things. Let them all pass. Had you not said no, you'll make it through. But the moment you said, no, I'm not going to do it, you set yourself up to do it. That makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Because he couldn't make you feel it. He wouldn't make you play God and all that kind of stuff. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So next time you pass that liquor store, don't say anything.
Okay. I'll just go the other way. I just won't drive down that street no more.
And speaking of liquor, I saw this documentary of some entertainer, and the entertainer died because he was a drug addict and an alcoholic. And it was one of the, well, I don't remember who it was. And so they were talking about how you need to treat the person for alcohol, because he's an alcoholic, and that alcohol is a disease. When you're an alcoholic, it's a disease. How many people believe it's a disease? You believe it's a disease? Nobody. Why don't you believe it's a disease?
Because my uncle, who actually lives at home with us, is an alcoholic.
Your uncle lived there too?
Yeah.
How old is he?
55.
Wow.
And he's at home with. Dang. Okay, so my grandpa, it's my grandpa's house, and my uncle lives there, which is his son, and then and we live there too. But he's 50. He's 55, and he's alcoholic.
Yeah. And you think that's a disease?
No, I don't.
Okay. What do you think is wrong?
He just has a Satan in his mind.
Yeah, he's
convincing him.
He's filled with judgment.
Yeah.
He's angry. He hates the person that let him stay there.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking his life away from him. And so as a result of that, he become an alcoholic because he's trying to feel better. He's trying to escape the pain.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to, deal with not growing up and being a man.
Mm-hmm.
And so he drinks this alcohol. That's why I never tell people to stop smoking or stop doing this. I tell them to forgive so you can overcome that fallen state that you're in, return to the Father, then the alcohol and all that stuff will fall away. It's not the problem. You could treat the alcohol until the cows come home, and you might stop doing alcohol, but you'll find something else to escape into because the guilt is still there. Alcohol is not a disease, folks.
Yeah.
It's the guilt that you have, and you're trying to overcome that. I mean, you're trying to deal with that. And so
Yeah.
your uncle's how old?
55, but he says that all the time. That is his. He knows what it is too, but I think he knows that he can overcome it. He doesn't.
You don't think he knows that?
He doesn't.
Well, why don't you tell him
Because he
he needs to
wrestles.
forgive his father and mother?
Because he doesn't want to.
Oh,
yeah.
you told him that?
Oh, yeah, everybody's told him. He just doesn't. Oh, his father and mother. I haven't told him that. I haven't told him that it could be that simple.
Yeah.
But he's not ready to move forward.
But tell him that he might not realize it's that simple.
Yeah.
You need to forgive. But what you need to see is that you're going down the same path that he is going down. That's your
I was
example.
trying.
Like you in the house praying, "Oh Lord, show me a sign." Hey. And he's allowing you to see your uncle.
But he didn't tell me that was the case though. But that could
He
be
did
the
tell you
case.
when he allowed you to
He
see your
wasn't
uncle,
lying.
50-something years old, still living at home with mama, and he's an alcoholic. Well, how much more sign do you need? What it is, you're looking for something else
Probably.
instead of
Probably.
looking at what's in front of you.
Probably. Yeah.
Satan got you looking for another answer from God.
Probably.
But that's your sign right there, boy.
Okay.
So you'll get out next week?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
So between now and next Sunday, when you come back here next Sunday, you're going to tell me I got my own place. You're going to feel 100% better. You
I
don't
hear
know
ya.
the life force that's going to come out of
Yeah.
you once you move.
It makes a lot of sense.
And they're going to all, when they find out that you're really going to move, they're going to try to pull you back in. They are not going to want to let you go.
Yeah.
You don't have to go now. I love you. How are you
Yeah.
going to pay your rent? How are you going to do this? Because Satan's children do not want you to go free from hell.
Yeah.
And your mama going to be, I love you, son. Not now. What mommy going to do without you? You're my best son. You're the oldest. What will mama do? She'll pull you back in. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So you better
I
have
hear
them.
you.
And then the alcoholic uncle going to be like, stay here.
Yeah.
Look how comfortable I am. I could be an alcoholic, don't have to worry about it. My rent paid, have food.
That's true.
So you better get out of there, man. You gonna
I
move?
hear you. Uh-huh.
That doesn't sound convincing.
No, I'll work. I will.
A man ain't got no business saying, uh-huh.
I really. I'll work on it for real.
All right, man. Whatever we can do to help. You know, we can help find a place or whatever. But you need to get out of there
hear
now. Because you got a lot of life in you right now. You have a lot of energy. You just don't have a built-up nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
You need to. And what I realized, too, is that when men and women turn away from the Father, I was telling my producers this morning that I noticed that men and women who have not been raised by their father, it's like your branch have been cut off from the tree, and you're not getting any life at all. Because mama don't have life to give you. The life comes through the Father. The Father is the tree, and you're the branch, right? And so when you return to the Father, that's how you develop. Men and women develop with strong character, strong nature, no fear. But when you are a mama's boy or a mama's girl, you're cut off from the tree of the Father, the tree of life, and you do not develop. Mm-hmm. I know so many guys who are like grown men, and they'll act like mentally ill boys. Mm. They act retarded. They're shy, they're immature, they're doubtful, they have fear, they act like sissies. You know what a sissy is?
Yes.
I haven't heard that word in a long time. They banned that word. A sissy is a girly man. Mm. And I was thinking, wow, it's amazing how you can lose your own identity and you could be recreated in the identity of someone else, and that's the life you live, never living yourself, and you could get old being that way. You're literally someone else and not yourself. You've been recreated. Isn't that like amazing? Mm-hmm. So when you're out there dealing with life, you're dealing with life in the way that the person that you've been recreated in, the image you're dealing with life the way they deal with life. You're not dealing with life the way you deal with life, because you're no longer yourself. That's mind-blowing to me. Mm-hmm. You could be 40 and 50 and still be like retarded, shy, and immature, and not a go-getter, you still need somebody to make you feel good. You need the world. That's not you. That's not your proper state of being. That's not for men and women. I had a young lady, I had to ask her, why did you do a certain thing? She said, well, I'm just like my mother. And I was like, you're right. You're just like your mother. But if she was herself, she wouldn't deal with life that way. But she's dealing with life in the way that she would recreate her mother's image. That's amazing. You could be recreated in your mother's image and deal with life like mama for the rest of your life if you don't overcome it. Isn't that mind-blowing? Mm-hmm. So you're like your mama.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you deal with life like a girl. I'm waiting on the Lord. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. I hope this helped. So the way to overcome this, you got to just see that you're wrong. Don't discuss being wrong with yourself. Just see you're wrong. Do nothing about it. Pray. Do the silent prayer. Just sit still, and the Lord will change you. Your Father would bring you back home, hook you back up to the tree, and give you life. He would take your mother's or your grandmother's identity away from you, whether you're a man or a woman. He will give you his identity, hook you back up to the tree of life. Then you'll start to mature, you'll start to grow, you will have no fear, you will have perfect peace, and you can live your life. That's all it takes. So thank you for tuning in. We provide counseling, all that good stuff. Also check out the radio show. We have a TV show, the FallenState.tv. Check that out. All about helping folks get it together, all right? We need your financial support. You need to donate to this because it's helping you, all right? You can call 800-411-BOND or donate online. Thank you again for tuning in, and thank you all for coming. I hope it was helpful. Uh-huh.